The dark side of civilization. As humanity celebrated the dawn of agriculture, the seeds of civilization's darker aspects were sown. In the Fertile Crescent, around 10,000 BCE, the first farmers faced a harsh reality. The pursuit of surplus food and stability came at a cost. The shift from nomadic hunter-gathering to settled agriculture brought new challenges. Land ownership led to inequality, with some families accumulating wealth and power while others toiled in servitude. The burden of labor intensified as humans worked the land, domesticated animals and built sprawling settlements. In Çatalhöyük, one of the earliest known cities, archaeologists uncover evidence of a stratified society where health and wealth disparities were stark. The strong and the wealthy lived longer, healthier lives, while the poor toiled under grueling conditions, often suffering from malnutrition and disease. This pattern of inequality would echo through history, shaping societies for millennia to come. The push for growth and innovation brought about a new kind of vulnerability, one that would haunt humanity as empires rose and fell. As we explore the dark side of civilization, we begin to see how progress often came at a steep price, one that the marginalized and the environment paid in full. The story of civilization is complex, multifaceted and often brutal, revealing the depths of human ambition and the consequences of our choices. The narrative of civilization's shadow begins here, with the unintended consequences of our greatest achievements. As societies grew more complex, so did their capacity for both creation and destruction. The early cities of Mesopotamia, like Ur and Babylon, showcased human ingenuity, but also the stark contrasts of wealth and poverty. The mighty Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which nourished these civilizations, also served as conduits for conflict over resources. Water management became a source of power and control, often favoring the elite while leaving the vulnerable to suffer the consequences of droughts and floods. This dynamic of power and scarcity would fuel tensions for centuries, shaping the course of history in profound ways. The seeds sown in these ancient lands would sprout into empires, each with its own tale of ambition, exploitation, and environmental strain. As we delve deeper into the dark side of civilization, we uncover the patterns that continue to shape our world. Today, patterns of inequality, environmental strain, and the relentless pursuit of progress. The journey is complex, often uncomfortable, but essential to understanding the world we inhabit. As civilizations expanded, their shadows grew longer. In ancient Egypt, the construction of monumental pyramids, circa 2600 BCE, showcased human ingenuity, but also the stark reality of labor exploitation. Thousands of workers toiled under harsh conditions, their lives deemed expendable for the glory of pharaohs. The grandeur of Giza's pyramids rested on the backs of the laboring masses, highlighting a grim trade-off: progress at the cost of human dignity. This pattern repeated across civilizations, from China's Great Wall to Rome's Colosseums, where ambition often trumped empathy. The wealth amassed by elites contrasted sharply with the suffering of those who built their empires. In the Indus Valley, the sophisticated cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro thrived through trade and innovation. Yet archaeological evidence hints at growing disparities and eventual decline due to environmental strain. The darker facets of civilization reveal a recurring theme. Progress and exploitation often walk hand in hand. As empires rose, their treatment of people and the environment foreshadowed the unsustainable paths many would take. The pursuit of power and wealth cast long shadows, shaping history's contours in ways both grand and grim. The consequences of these choices continue to ripple through time, influencing our world today. The rise of empires in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley brought unprecedented complexity and innovation, but also new forms of control and exploitation. In ancient Sumer, circa 2100 BCE, the invention of writing, a revolutionary tool, primarily served the ruling elite, tracking taxes, labor, and wealth. The Code of Hammurabi, circa 754 BCE, while a milestone in codifying laws, reinforced social hierarchies, meting out justice based on one's status. Slaves, often prisoners of war or debtors, formed the backbone of economies, their humanity reduced to property. The Egyptian New Kingdoms, circa 1550 to 1070 BCE, opulent temples and tombs masked the exploitation of laborers who toiled in mines and construction sites, often under brutal conditions. The grandeur of imperial capitals like Babylon and Persepolis belied the suffering of those who built them. In the Indus Valley, the mysterious decline of cities like Mohenjo-Daro, circa 1900 BCE, may have stemmed from environmental degradation and resource strain, underscoring the ecological costs of unchecked growth. As empires expanded, so did their demands on people and landscapes, often with devastating consequences. The seeds of inequality, exploitation, and environmental strain sown in these ancient lands would sprout into recurring patterns, shaping history's darker currents. The pursuit of power and wealth cast long shadows, influencing the lives of countless individuals and the fate of societies. The interplay of progress and oppression continued to define civilization's trajectory, often prioritizing ambition over humanity. The echoes of these choices resonate still, reminding us of the complexities of our shared past. The story of civilization's dark side is one of contrasts, grandeur and suffering, innovation and exploitation, a duality that continues to shape our world. The expansion of empires in ancient times brought about unprecedented connectivity and cultural exchange, but it also led to the subjugation and exploitation of countless communities. In the vast Persian Empire, circa 550–330 BCE, the construction of grand cities like Persepolis showcased the wealth and power of rulers, but it came at a significant human cost. Thousands of laborers, often conscripted from conquered lands, toiled under harsh conditions to build palaces, roads and monuments that celebrated imperial might. The empire's extensive network of roads, while a marvel of engineering, facilitated not only trade, but also the movement of armies and the deportation of rebellious populations. The Greek historian Herodotus documented the brutal suppression of revolts, such as the destruction of Miletus, highlighting the empire's iron fist in maintaining control. Meanwhile, in the Americas, the rise of the Aztec Empire, circa 1325–1521 CE, saw the subjugation of neighboring peoples, with captives taken for ritual sacrifice. To appease gods the empire deemed essential to their survival, the grandeur of Tenochtitlan, with its temples and markets, rested on a foundation of conquest and human sacrifice, illustrating the complex interplay of power, religion, and violence. As empires expanded, their demands on people and resources grew, often leading to devastating conflicts and ecological strain. The relentless pursuit of wealth and power drove societies to exploit both humans and the environment, creating patterns of inequality and suffering that would echo through history. The legacy of these empires, marked by both cultural achievements and brutal suppression, continues to shape our understanding of the past and its impact on the present. The story of civilization's dark side is one of contrasts, progress and oppression, grandeur and suffering, a duality that continues to influence our world today. The interplay of power, culture, and exploitation remains a pressing concern, reminding us of the need to confront the shadows of our shared history. The Roman Empire's circa 27 BCE, 476 CE, vast reach and enduring legacy came at a significant cost. As Rome expanded, it brought about unprecedented wealth and power, but also subjugation and exploitation. The construction of grand monuments like the Colosseum and Pantheon showcased Roman engineering and grandeur, but it relied heavily on the labor of thousands of slaves and workers. The empire's extensive network of roads, aqueducts, and public buildings facilitated trade and commerce, but also served as a means of control and domination. The Roman elite amassed enormous wealth, often through conquest and exploitation of provincial resources, while many citizens struggled with poverty and inequality. The historian Tacitus noted the devastation of Britain under Roman rule, where local tribes were subjugated and their lands ravaged. The empire's treatment of its subjects was often brutal, with crucifixion a common punishment for dissent and rebellion. The Pax Romana, a period of relative peace, was maintained through a combination of military might and cultural assimilation, but it came at the cost of local autonomy and cultural identity. As the empire expanded, it encountered resistance and revolts, such as the Jewish Wars and the Punic Wars, which were met with brutal suppression. The legacy of Roman law and governance continues to shape modern societies, but it is also a reminder of the empire's complex and often dark history. The interplay of power, culture, and exploitation remains a pressing concern, reminding us of the need to confront the shadows of our shared past. The Roman Empire's grandeur and decline serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of accountability. The spread of religions like Christianity and Islam in the medieval period brought about profound cultural and spiritual transformations, but it also led to significant violence, exclusion, and control. The Crusades, 1095-1291 CE, launched by Christian leaders to reclaim the Holy Land, resulted in widespread bloodshed, displacement, and the massacre of Jews, Muslims, and other communities. The Inquisition, established in 1184 CE, used torture and persecution to enforce orthodoxy, targeting heretics, Jews, and other minorities. Similarly, the Islamic conquests, while spreading a vast empire and facilitating cultural exchange, also involved forced conversions, enslavement, and brutal suppression of resistance. The Mongol invasions, led by Genghis Khan and his successors, devastated vast swaths of Asia and Europe, causing immense destruction, slaughter, and cultural loss. The Mongols' brutal tactics, including massacres and scorched earth policies, left cities like Baghdad and Samarkand in ruins. The legacy of these conflicts continues to shape modern perceptions of religion, power, and violence. The interplay of faith, politics, and coercion remains a pressing concern, reminding us of the need to confront the shadows of our shared past. The medieval period's complex history serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of tolerance, empathy, and coexistence. As societies continue to grapple with the consequences of religious and cultural conflicts, the lessons of the past remain essential to building a more just and peaceful future. The story of civilization's dark side is one of contrasts, faith and violence, spirituality and oppression, a duality that continues to shape our world. The Age of Exploration, 15th, 17th centuries, marked a pivotal moment in human history, bringing about unprecedented global connections and exchange. But it also led to devastating consequences for indigenous peoples, cultures, and ecosystems. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas, led by Columbus's voyage in 1492, resulted in the subjugation, displacement, and decimation of native populations. The Aztec and Inca empires, with their rich cultures and complex societies, were conquered and dismantled by Spanish conquistadors, who exploited local divisions and diseases like smallpox to devastating effect. The transatlantic slave trade, which forcibly transported millions of Africans to the Americas, was a brutal system of exploitation that fueled European economies, but inflicted immense suffering and cultural destruction. The colonization of Asia, Africa, and the Pacific by European powers like Britain, France, and Spain led to the erasure of local cultures, languages, and traditions, as colonial powers imposed their own languages, laws, and institutions. The legacy of colonialism continues to shape modern societies, with many communities still grappling with the consequences of cultural suppression, land expropriation, and economic exploitation. The environmental impact of colonialism was also profound, with the introduction of invasive species, deforestation, and the exploitation of natural resources leading to widespread ecological degradation. The story of colonialism is one of contrasts, discovery and destruction, progress and regression, a duality that continues to shape our world. As societies continue to grapple with the consequences of colonialism, the lessons of the past remain essential to building a more just and equitable future. The interplay of power, culture, and exploitation remains a pressing concern, reminding us of the need to confront the shadows of our shared past and work towards a more inclusive and sustainable future. The Industrial Revolution, 18th, 19th centuries, marked a significant turning point in human history, bringing about unprecedented technological advancements and economic growth. But it also led to profound social, environmental, and cultural transformations. The shift from agrarian societies to industrialized economies led to the growth of cities, the development of new social classes, and the emergence of new forms of exploitation. Workers in factories and mines faced harsh conditions, long hours and low wages, leading to widespread poverty, disease, and social unrest. The rise of capitalism and industrialization also led to the displacement of traditional communities, the erosion of craft skills, and the degradation of the environment. The exploitation of colonial resources and labor continued, with European powers extracting wealth from colonized territories to fuel their own industrialization. The impact of industrialization was not limited to the West. It also had far-reaching consequences for colonized societies, which were often forced to adopt Western technologies and economic systems. The legacy of industrialization continues to shape modern societies, with many communities still grappling with the consequences of environmental degradation, social inequality, and cultural homogenization. The interplay of technology, power, and exploitation remains a pressing concern, reminding us of the need to confront the shadows of our shared past and work towards a more sustainable and equitable future. As societies continue to grapple with the consequences of industrialization, the lessons of the past remain essential to building a more just and inclusive world. The story of industrialization is one of contrasts, progress and regression, growth and decay, a duality that continues to shape our world. The 20th century witnessed unprecedented technological advancements, from the invention of the internet to the development of nuclear energy. But it also brought about devastating wars, genocides, and environmental disasters. The two world wars, which claimed millions of lives and reshaped global politics, were fueled by nationalist ideologies, imperial rivalries, and the pursuit of power. The Holocaust, a systematic genocide that claimed 6 million Jewish lives, remains one of the darkest chapters in human history, highlighting the dangers of racism, xenophobia, and unchecked hatred. The Cold War, which pitted capitalist and communist blocs against each other, led to proxy wars, nuclear proliferation, and a perpetual state of fear and tension. The rise of globalization, while bringing about increased connectivity and economic growth, also led to widening inequality, cultural homogenization, and environmental degradation. The exploitation of natural resources, the displacement of communities, and the erosion of labor rights were all consequences of unchecked capitalism and the pursuit of growth at any cost. The legacy of the 20th century continues to shape our world, with many communities still grappling with the consequences of conflict, inequality, and environmental degradation. As societies continue to navigate the complexities of the 21st century, the lessons of the past remain essential to building a more just, equitable, and sustainable future. The interplay of power, technology, and humanity remains a pressing concern, reminding us of the need to confront the shadows of our shared past and work towards a better world. As we reach the final chapter of this journey through the dark side of civilization, we confront a pivotal moment, the choice to shape a different future. The 21st century presents humanity with profound challenges: climate change, inequality, and technological disruption, but also unprecedented opportunities for connection, innovation, and transformation. The lessons of the past remind us that progress and compassion are not mutually exclusive. Renewable energy, green technologies, and sustainable practices offer pathways to mitigate environmental harm. Global cooperation, exemplified by agreements like the Paris Accord, shows that collective action is possible. Movements for social justice, equality, and human rights demonstrate humanity's capacity for empathy and change. Yet the shadows of civilization's dark side persist. Rising nationalism, authoritarianism, and xenophobia threaten the values of inclusivity and cooperation. The digital realm, a double-edged sword, can amplify both connection and division. Biased algorithms, surveillance, and misinformation echo past patterns of control and manipulation. The future is not predetermined. It is ours to shape. By learning from history's shadows, we can chart a course that balances progress with responsibility, tech with humanity. We can prioritize sustainability, equity, and justice. We can build societies that thrive environmentally, socially, and economically. This story of civilization's dark side ends with a choice. Will we repeat past mistakes or forge a new path? The answer lies in our collective actions, in policies, innovations, and everyday choices. We can write a future where humanity's potential is unleashed, not constrained by our creations. The end.